Okay guys, welcome again to my channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at how to solve a wonderful challenge. As you can see from the board above, we are having a question which says open brackets y minus 3 close bracket to the power of 4 minus 16 equals 0. Then the questioner says y is equals to what? So we are looking for the value of y in this challenge. So if you are new to this channel, you can click on the subscription button and hopefully hit on the notification bell so that you get notified anytime I release videos on maths, because in this channel I solve problems of mathematics such as algebra, Olympiad mathematics, calculus and many more. So let's see how we can resolve this wonderful challenge. And as you can see from this question, we are having open bracket y minus 3 close bracket to the power of 4, and if you open this bracket we are going to have y to the power of 4. So this is simply trying to tell us that at the end of the day we are going to have 4 values for y. So let's see how we can resolve this. So the first step we can take is this is solution. So but in course of this this question, I'm going to use a little trick solving this instead of me opening this bracket directly, because if I want to open this bracket I need to apply the Pascal triangle or the binomial theorem. But without me using those two methods, I can simply use an easier method to solve this without using the Pascal triangle method or the binomial theorem. So let's see how we can solve this without using the Pascal triangle method and the binomial theorem. So having this, so we can simply write this down again, which says open bracket y minus 3 to the power of 4 minus 16 is equals to 0. Okay, so the next step we are going to take, we can simply break this down. So if we are breaking this down, we can say open bracket y minus 3 close bracket to the power of 2 to the power of 2, right? Then we can still do the same for this. Minus 4 to the power of 2 is equals to 0. So if we put this down, we are going to have this. If we put this back, we are going to have this. It still remains the same, nothing changes. Okay, having done this, we can apply, we can simply apply the difference of two squares, which says if we are having b to the power of 2 minus c to the power of 2 is also equals to b plus c close bracket over bracket b minus c. So this is what we call the difference of two squares. So after having this, we can simply relate this to this. In other words, we can take this to be b, putting b here, and we take this to be c. So we can simply have b to the power of what? 2, which is this 2, minus, so your c is 4, c to the power of what? 2 equal 0. Okay, having done this, remember we said b to the power of 2 minus c to the power of 2 is equals to open bracket b plus c close bracket open bracket b minus c. So in the whole of that, we can simply apply the same method here. So we can say, okay, we are now having b plus c, b minus c equals 0. I remember we said we are taking b to be y minus 3 to the power of what? Of 2, right? Then we are taking c to be 4. So doing that, replacing them back, we can simply have open bracket y minus 3 to the power of 2 plus 4, because your c is 4, close bracket, open bracket again, y minus 3 to the power of 2 minus 4 equal 0, because we should use one to multiply this, we are going to have this 16, then use one to multiply this, we are going to have this. Okay, so having this, we are not having it in the form of a quadratic form, so we can simply like this to be this. So we can simply have y to the power of y minus 3 to the power of 2 plus 4 is equals 0. Then y minus 3 to the power of 2 minus 4 is also equal 0. So having done all this, so what are we going to say? Okay, let's call this one 1. We are going to call this one 1. Call this one 1, and call this one 2. Okay, let's resolve of 1 first. So we can simply say y minus 3 to the power of 2 plus 4 equals 0. Okay, bringing this one down, so we are going to have y minus 3 to the power of what? of 2 is equals to minus 4. Okay, remember we said we are resolving for 1, so this is the 1, so this is the 2. We are resolving for 1 first of all. So by the time we resolve for 1, so we are having the square root of this now. So this and this will cancel out, so we are left with y minus 3 equals to, so we're going to have plus or minus root of what? Minus 4. So if we are having this minus the root of minus 4, we can simply write this in form of complex way by saying minus 1 times what? 4, which is going to give us 2 root of what? Minus what? Minus 1. And we know root of minus 1 is in complex form, is going to give us I. So we can have y minus 3 is equals to plus or minus 2I. Because we said root of minus 1 is equals to I from complex number. So having done this, so what are we simply going to do? So we are looking for the value of y. So making y to stand on its own, we can simply say y is equals to plus or minus, bringing it back, so I can say 3 plus or minus 2I. Right? So bringing this one to this side is going to turn to the positive sign. So we are having y equals to 3 plus or minus 2I. So having this, we can say y1 is equals to, because we are now having two signs here, so we can say 3 plus 2I, then y2 is equals to 3 minus 2I. Okay, so this is the first and second value for y. So let's find the third and fourth value for y using the second question. So the second question says y minus 3 to the power of 2 minus 4 equals 0. So we are equating it to be 0 equals 0 equals 0. So we are equating it to be 0. So having done this, what is the next step? We can simply bring this to the right hand side of the equation. So doing that, we can say y minus 3 to the power of 2 is equals to 4. So what then is the next step? We can simply square root both sides. So squaring both sides, we can say the square root of y minus 3 to the power of 2 is equals to the square root of what? Of 4. So plus and negative. So this and this will cancel off. So we are left with what? Y minus 3 is equals to what? And the square root of 4 is going to give us 2. So we are having plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. So bring it to make y to be the formula to stand on its own. We are bringing this one to the right hand side of the equation. So doing that, we can say y is equals to 3 plus or minus what? Or 2. So we are having two. We are also having two values here because we are having two signs here, plus and what? Minus. So we can simply say y3 is equals to 3 plus 2, which is equals to 5, and y4 is equals to 3 minus 2 equals to 1. It's making more sense, right? Okay. So y3 is equals to 3 plus 2 is 5, and y4 is equals to 3 minus 2, which is 1. Remember, our y1 is in a complex form. y1 and y2 is a complex form, while y3 and y4 is a plain number. So these are the four values for y. So coming back, we can say, okay, our y4 is equals to 3 minus 2, which is 1. So this is the fourth value for y. So the fourth value for y is equals to 3 minus 2, which is 1, and the third value for y, which is 3 plus 2, which is 5. And you can see from the board we are having four values for y, like what I said earlier. So two values for y are in complex form, y2 value for y are in plain numbers. So these are the four values for y. So y1 is equals to 3 plus 2i, y2 is equals to 3 minus 2i, then y3 is equals to 5, then y4 is equals to 1. So these are the value for x. So what are we going to do again? So the next thing we are going to do in order to look whether our answer is correct is by plugging one of the value for y into the previous equation to check whether actually what we solve is actually correct. So doing that, let's see that. So this is our previous question and this is our value for y. So what then are we going to do? We want to plug one of the value for y into this previous question. Let's see whether it's actually equal 0. So doing that, we can simply pick one. In any of the four, we can pick one. So doing that, we can say, okay, let's pick y is equals to 5. We can pick any of them. Just that while you're solving this using the complex form, if you are picking this y1, so you are going to apply some of the complex rules solving this, and by the time you apply some of the complex rules solving this using y1, it's going to give you 0. So but in case of simplicity, for simplicity's sake, we are going to pick y3 equals to 5. So doing that, we can simply say 5 minus 3 to the power of what? Of 4 minus 16 equals 0. So 5 minus 3 is going to give us 2. So we're having 2 to the power of 4 minus 16. And 2 to the power of 4 is 16. So we are having 16 minus 16. So 16 minus 16 is going to give us what? 0. So it's going to give us what? 0. So the value for y3 is correct. So let's simply try this y4. So doing that, we can simply say y1 minus 3 to the power of what? 4 minus 16 equal 0. So 1 minus 3 is going to give us minus 2. So we're having minus 2 to the power of 4 minus 16 is equals to 0. And minus 2 to the power of 4 is going to give us 16 also. So we're having 16 minus 16 is equal 0. So if you plug in the same value for y1, y2, anyone you like to choose, into the previous equation, is going to give you 0. So we having this is trying to tell us that the value for y in this question is correct. So if you find this video interesting and useful, you can click on the subscription button if you have not done that, and hit up the notification bell so that you get notified. And by the time you are done doing that, you can write down in the comment section below saying I have subscribed and I've hit on the notification bell. Remember, we love you, God bless you, and Jesus loves you. Thank you once again, and we love to see